We've been saying for some time now, actually a couple of years, that this is going to happen, that the police station really needs to be seen to. And I know that it was a manifesto commitment of the government's that the station was going to be moved to, I believe it was the Rooke site. And unfortunately, back in December 2024, when I asked the questions again in Parliament, I was given a surprising answer, which was no, is not happening anymore. We're going to refurbish the existing station. But of course, the existing station was never built for purpose. And the RGP have now been at that station since the early 90s, but it was in 1994 when they moved up to that station. So it's at the stage where policing has moved forward. It's moving in a more modern direction, and that building is just not fit for purpose. But now it's actually worse because it's not fit for purpose, but it's also dangerous because obviously the inclement weather has exposed areas of asbestos, which were known, but obviously now because they've been exposed, they pose a threat and a risk, and therefore half of or part of the station has been closed off as a result.
Okay, well, you've described the government's approach to a new police station as confused, but isn't that oversimplifying what is actually quite a complex problem?
It is a complex problem, but if we look back at the manifesto commitment in 2023, so there's quite a big box in there their manifesto that says, it's a red box, in fact, that says that the government was looking, they envisaged, and I take the point that the word was envisaged, that the police station would be moved down to the Rooke site. But in the following line under the envisaged, they said that the plans had already been approved. Now, when plans are approved, it means that they're at a certain stage, a certain advanced stage, one would think, whereby you know where you're going with a project. And then to be told just 14 months later in Parliament that that wasn't going to be the case, that the station was going to be staying where it is, knowing full well that the station is just not fit for purpose.
Well, you mentioned the government's manifesto commitment. Your own manifesto commitment gave just 3 sentences to this issue. So, how much thought has the GST really put into it?
So obviously we come at it from a different angle, and the reason is that simply we're not in government at the minute. We don't know what's in the coffers, and the idea would be obviously to build a station and to provide these essential services with a home. This is not the only essential service that is lacking at the minute in its infrastructure and its resources. And the point that we try to make is, instead of spending on some of the vanity projects that we're seeing, and instead of prioritizing, and there's many instances where there's been waste of finances in the latest auditors' reports. We see that, and that's been a theme, I would say, now for some years in auditors' reports under this government. We would seek to spend the money better, and we're saying spend it on these essential services.
So, what would the GSD solution be then? To relocate the station?
That would certainly be the golden standard. I think that that's what.
Where would it be?
So again, we need to. We're not in government, right? But again, the fact that they'd done the planning and they'd actually had the plans approved meant that it looked like the station was going to be moved to the Rooke site, which would be quite close actually to the GFRS's new station. So it seemed like a plan that had legs that could go forward. And then we hear that actually it can't move forward because it's going to be too tall. But again, if we look at the plans, and we row back to the plans, they were approved. So surely they would have had an idea as to how tall and how big this building was going to be. So it seems that the Rooke site, the idea of putting it, of situating it on the Rooke site, certainly had legs. But again, we don't quite know what's going to go on at the Rooke site. It's a bit of a mystery because there's also the RS facility, and that's a bit of a mystery. So I wonder whether there's any interaction between
So,
them.
so will you continue to press the government on answers for this? Particularly, we've got a treaty coming along, and as we see, only part of New Mole House is able to be used at the moment.
Yes, I will. I think it's imperative at the minute that this is actually seen to. As I say, this is not the only emergency service that is lacking. In recent weeks, recent days actually, I've also put out press releases relating to the ambulance service, who also find themselves in porter cabins at the minute, and it's not clear which way the government are going with that. And I think what really needs to come out is the fact that these are manifesto commitments that they made. People surely, or some people would have voted in their favour in the 2023 election based on those manifesto commitments, and now we see U-turns, and they're quite big U-turns, and I think that is quite significant.